Hey there, everybody. Welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and welcome to another video. Today, we are playing Sword of Convallaria, and I'm going to give you some meta replacements. We're going to go over 4 units today, and basically the 4 big boys, the ones that everyone's talking about, and I'll give you ideas of units you could use to replace them. I got asked a couple times, who should hey, Plat, I don't have Cole. I don't have Barrel. Who should I use? So none of these are going to be one-to-one, all right? There's a reason Cole is Cole, and the follow-up to Cole is not going to be as good as Cole, obviously. But there are good units you should be looking at and considering using if you want to have a meta-styled team, but don't have those specific units. So let's jump into it. Actually, very first, we're going to do Anana, and that's because Anana is the one that I actually can't really replace, all right? So I just kind of want to get it out of the way. You kind of can, kind of can't, all right? So what does she actually do? Her big thing is that she summons a guard, which is irreplaceable, and she has the ability to give someone else a bonus action, which is irreplaceable. However, the other thing she does is she heals a bunch. So honestly, for me, what I would do if I was going to replace her, I would go with someone like Angel, just a really powerful free-to-play healer with a good way to remove buffs from targets if you need her to attack. Also has ways to recover extra energy while also reducing her damage taken and just having good healing. She's overall a good healer with a little bit of support as well. Absolutely the replacement I would use. However, it's the farthest from a one-to-one out of all of these because the things like her summon and her ability to have a character take extra turns, that's just not something else that I have seen in the game that is replaceable. So we're going to get that one out of the way. All right. Anana, sorry. But Cole, on the other hand, let's talk about Cole. All right, you don't have Cole. So I'm going to give you 2 for each character from here on out. 2 that I think are good. And the first one here might be a little obvious. Everyone's probably going to think about it, but then we're going to move on to another one that I think is surprisingly good. So Crimson Falcon is kind of an obvious choice here, right? Everyone has Crimson Falcon. They're very powerful in a lot of ways. They gain jump. When they're behind, they deal more damage. After defeating a target, you may move again 3 tiles. So this is something that's super important. Maybe the most important part of this ability is being able to move 3 tiles after killing a target. It means you have to move, but it's not as good as Cole getting an extra turn, but it is here. And the most important thing for Seekers, they're not very tanky. You can go in and you can kill shit, but you got to be able to get back out. You got to be able to get somewhere safe, back to your tank, back to just out of attack range. If you're just go in and deal insane damage and there's a second enemy around, they might just freaking kill you, you know? Cole doesn't have that problem because they attack twice and then they could turn invisible, but, you know, they have all kinds of stuff. But Crimson Falcon actually has a lot of good stuff going on, and that's basically what it comes down to. Just when attacking, you deal extra damage. When they're unharmed, you're trying to get behind them. When performing an active attack, crit is increased. If it's a backstab, crit's increased by even more. You know, you gain dodge, so you're harder to kill. And then you just do a big old smacky hit here with this ability here, right? 45% damage 3 times. That's a really high percent of damage. And your crit increases, right? So she is just really good at killing shit. And then most importantly, she also can get back out. So that's basically what Cole can do. Crimson Falcon is absolutely a super viable use. However, one that you may not have used that I really like, you're going to see they're a low level on my account here because I haven't used them that much because I have 2 units that are good, but is Recruited Assassin. I got to remember Recruited Assassin, Outlaw Assassin. They're different. Recruited Assassin. Now, you've probably seen this guy around you've probably fought him a lot of times. This hook is pretty fucking sick, man. Selects one enemy with a cross-shaped range around the character, drags them to the character, and they can't use reaction skills for a turn. This is so fucking strong. Like, joking aside, this ability is great. It just lets you get something out of position. So what makes this powerful is, like I said, how you have to get out after you kill something. This lets you, instead of having to get out, lets you pull something into your danger zone instead. So again, you're still avoiding that problem of just getting in and dying. You also do have climbing, and you get 25% crit when attacking an enemy from the side or behind, so it is, like, nice. It's not insane. Hookshot, very good, but that's not all they have. They also have Hunting Impulse. Single target attack deals 130% damage. Before attacking, you get increase, crit, and if you kill them, this replaces itself. It becomes free if you kill something. So it's decent damage with an extra additional crit, and it's just honestly pretty good. I would not take the support here. But then they also have ambush. When performing an active attack, if the target is unharmed, you deal 20% bonus damage. If you're performing a back attack, they can't use passive. So now you hook shot them in, you go around them and you attack them. They can't use reactions, they can't use passives. You're doing 130% crit probably, and then another 20% crit. You're doing some pretty good shit here. And then also, like, they have some decent stuff here. Like, after you attack, they can move again. So even if the hook shot isn't lining up because it's on a 4-turn cooldown, later you'll be able to attack something. And even if you don't kill it, which is important because on Crimson Falcon you have to kill it, this is after you attack them, you can move again. The distance is based on your remaining movement. So if you move all the way in, if you send 5 movement to get in, you're not getting out. But if you basically could spend like 1 or 2 movement to get in, you can move like 2 or 3 out, even if you don't kill the target. So overall, a very, very good character, honestly, and I think that people should consider using them for sure. Next, let's talk about Barrel. You don't have Barrel. Now, Barrel has a ability that's semi-irreplaceable that I don't even think I have yet, but if you're coming up here and you're looking at this, right, you give everyone a little bit of healing and 2 NRG, 2 energy, which is Nergy, I guess. But really what we're going to be talking about replacing is her really powerful AoE abilities. That's going to be the most thing that we're going to be talking about here. So the first one that might be, again, a little simple, one that's a little more obvious, and one that's a little less obvious is kind of what I'm going for here. The KA Fire Sorceress. Where are you at, KA? Where are you at, KA? I'm going to find you. Here we go. No. The Fire Sorceress. No. I'm sorry. The Fire Conjurer. Duh, I get these two mixed up all the time. So I talked about her in a different video. I think it was yesterday. Whenever the videos go live. So very first thing is she's got a sick ass trait. Armor piercing 40%. So when she attacks AoE, she's ignoring everything's armor, right? She gets increased magic attack by 20% when there are 2 more allies around. She needs to be around allies, but this is one of the best AoE damage dealers in the game. Gains armor piercing, magic attack 20%. And then she even has some good single target, right? Doing 125% damage and inflicting Scorch is good. Scorch is powerful. That's 10% of their attack. You afflict Scorch a second time, it'll instantly pop it for 10% and it'll reapply Scorch. But these stacks are super good, right? Armor piercing, magic attack. And then she also has damage scaling rates right here. At the start of your turn, if you have 2 more allies around, same as before, and in addition to getting the magic attack, you're also going to get straight up damage increase, another 20% damage increase. And she does have a 2x2, like a plus sign of damage. It only does 70%, but it will set things on fire. And on top of that, it also does a, you're doing a lot of modifications to this damage, right? So it is a very good ability, especially when you have all that stuff going on. And she does have like a kind of a cool AoE buff, and she could do like some other cool stuff as well. The one ability here you actually might want to use is a AoE attack buff. This isn't like really something that Barrel has, but I think that as far as AoE goes, Fire Pillar is really, really good. And again, this is something that's a little more obvious. There are other characters with other AoE attacks of different sizes, but I really do think when you're pushing harder content, the percent on the damage isn't necessarily as important as ignoring their defense while raising your attack and raising your flat damage after the fact. I think in an AoE that could be more important. Plus, Scorch does percent damage, and this is a personal pick for me that I really like. Now, the other one here that I think is a little less obvious that I actually thought was really good. And again, this is in the idea is AoE damage, right? Lightning. Now, this is not a mage at all. This is a seeker, right? But lightning has a pretty ridiculous amount of AoE damage, and it's all pretty good. It's kind of crit focused, though, as you can tell by a seeker. Physical and defense, both 7%. At the end of the turn, if the character is healthy and within the foe's threat range, you gain Disdain, which decreases damage taken by 20%. So you are a little bit, this is like a tanky seeker, which is kind of fun. But you take a look here at their very first ability. They have a 75% damage to all enemies in a 3x4 area. That's a big area. That's a big area. And it afflicts them with attack down and move down. So you're getting some utility in that as well. What a fucking cool ability. But that's not her only one. You can also, she could buff her own attack, so she's doing more, and give herself more defense there. So she's just doing a lot of extra damage, which is good. Again, we're trying to do as much AoE as possible. And then you can make it so after initiating an active attack, the character takes 15% less damage, but if you deal a crit, you take 25% less damage, making you tanky, or you can make everyone else just do more crits. I think hardening is kind of bad. Front defense is fine. But lightning here, this ability is badass. 50 more speed and increase crit by 50% if you move more than 3 tiles. So you move 3 tiles, you come in, do your big AoE, you crit everything, and now you're taking 25% less damage. Also, Gale Dance if you don't go with lightning or you decide you want both. 75% AoE damage to all enemies in a 2-tile radius. And before attacking, you get crit too. So you get a bonus 30% crit, 75% AoE, lots of damage. And then you can even make it so she has lifesteal. So she's surprisingly tanky, debuffy, fast, really, really cool AoE damage dealer. And I think that this actually could be a replacement for Beryl if you're looking for AoE. Although, of course, like I said, it's not 1-to-1. Finally, here, we're going to look at Gloria. Gloria is a little bit difficult. There's going to be 2 different angles I'm going to go with here. Yeah, she has like an AoE buff stuff. There's a lot of things that buff a lot of things, right? So that's not the most important thing to me. The 2 most standout abilities to me are kind of like if you're using her to fight or if you're using her for a movement buff. So the first one I actually think is kind of like Gloria without the AoE buffs is a Tempest. So Tempest does have like this cool almost shaman ability from World of Warcraft, Wind Armor and Wind Fury. After you attack, you gain Wind Armor, which increases your defense. And after being attacked, you gain Wind Fury, which increases your attack. Both effects last for 2 turns. But he's kind of got this really cool ability where he just can go and knock shit back. But he also has the really cool other ability here where, you know, instant support. This is really good. Like Gloria's good at buffing stuff. Where's this one here? Here we go. Charge that one enemy from 3 tiles away. Deals really good damage. But if you have Wind Fury, it also knocks him back 2 tiles. This other ability knocks him back 2 tiles. And it's just kind of like combat-wise, this character feels similar to Gloria in a lot of ways. Before receiving a melee attack, deals 50% physical damage to all enemies within 1 tile around the character. If you have Wind Armor, you additionally inflict damage down for 1 turn, and it can be triggered 1 time per round. Storm Temple is fucking super cool. Crescendo combo, I've talked about this in another video, fucking badass. Charged attack. It does make your next skill damage do more stuff. Oh, and here, being able to dispel buffs. This is really good. I think Gloria has her attacks. I think she has almost the exact same attack, if not literally the same thing. Being able to dispel buffs is good, knocking people around while also being a little bit tanky and a little bit supporty. That's kind of what Gloria is all about. Again, it's not 1-to-1. There's definitely some downsides here, but Tempest could do quite a bit. But the other one here is actually one that I got confused. I got mixed up earlier, but it's Flame Sorceress. Now, this is not like Gloria at all. However, if you come down here, we got it right here. It's an AoE support ability, grants move to and immunity to move down to all allies within the 2-tile radius of the target location lasting 2 turns. Now, you can only do this once every 5 turns. It only lasts 2 turns. And it only, you know, it only does in a 2-tile radius. And it's not cast at the start of combat. It's worse. But you know what? This is a way to give AoE move to all of your characters on a skill that you can bring into a character. Right, as a character primarily dedicated to dealing damage and just getting Scorch on everybody, like this is what she does, right? Passively, she just locks onto people, gives them Scorch. Can you ever do it to 2 characters? Locks on the 2 random characters, gives them both Scorch, and then after that, you know, she can attack and inflict Scorch. Then she's got the ability here to become immune to Scorch herself, while also dealing Pyroblast to deal 200% damage to Scorch targets. We'll also do an AoE damage and also being able to inflict Scorch with her normal attack instead of her ability. But all of that is behind the fact that she can also give everyone a movement buff, which is something that's super rare. This is very uncommon. So I wanted to make sure to point it out. And this is absolutely something you should consider using if you don't have Gloria, because movement is king. There is like the other ability, the talent ability. What the hell is it called? But it's not the character. It's like the meta ability. What the fuck's it called? Let me have to look now. It's the, I know what it's called, everyone. Everyone shut the hell up. We're going back home. I can never remember what it's called. It's in the talent tree. It's the talent tree, Seeker's Path, Force March, March Command. So this will also do something that increases your movement, right? But getting the movement on, they're separate buffs. So you can get both of these going at the same time. Because this is a March Command buff, and the other one is a movement up buff. So you could stack them, which is very good. So those are like the, I don't have this plat, what should I use? Try Y. You know, don't have X, try Y. This is what I got. We could do more of these for more characters, but these are the main units that people are always talking about. They're the ones people are pulling for. But yeah, anyway, that's all for today, guys. Thank you very much. Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye!